All right, rant number two about this game. First one, talk about the playoff rankings inside dynasty mode. This time, I'm gonna get into the meat and potatoes of what's really, well, it's not really irking me, but it's irking y'all. And I think somebody just has to say it in a truthful way, but in a non-hostile way. You all are bad at the game, and I'm not saying this because you know I'm saying like ha ha ha, get good, you suck, you're never gonna be great. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm not trying to even get into it like that. But I'm coming from a truthful point. Like you guys are like legitimately bad at the game, but it's not your fault. That's the thing you gotta understand. It is not your fault that you are bad at college football 25. Especially a lot of you who decided just to jump in on Heisman difficulty or All American just because like yeah I played Madden yada yada I played other games I'm gonna be good at this I'm a hardcore gamer yada yada. But I would say there's three reasons that I would say from when I see it on social media, on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, YouTube videos. You guys are bad at the game. I'll put it into like three like categories of reason. I would say the first and biggest one is you all don't know football. And I don't mean that in like a way to like try to shame you all because like a lot of people will realize like they don't know football when they watch like someone else actually break down football because like if you know actual football it can help you well with any sport like if you know actual tactics that apply to real life to a video game it can help you out immensely. And I would say the problem with you all not having a deeper understanding of football, which is perfectly fine. Like even for a good amount of my life, I didn't fully understand football, but it's like I enjoyed it on a surface level, which is not something that you guys should feel bad about if that's how you are. Because like some people just like, hey, I just see a run, I know it's a run. I see a pass, I know it's a pass. I don't really understand the difference between a counter and a trap, like those kinds of things. Which college football and the old NCAA series originally, the difference was that they differed from Madden, which is sort of like also going to be my point number two, is that I guess my first point and my second point before I get to my third point can jail one another is like you guys don't know football is point number one, and point number two is you guys have been conditioned by Madden to play Madden football and not actual football. Which, if you played any of the Madden games, even back with the older Madden games versus NCAA games, you would say those Madden games from then up until now, those games of Madden seem I would define them as being more on rails. Like things are in a set amount of conditions to make sure things happen, so that it seems more sort of like NFL where things aren't being busted wide open, plays don't just get broken very easily, and so that's how things are trying to be made. But from understanding real football and mostly relying on Madden football, it puts a lot of you at a disadvantage when it comes to college football 25 because it's more so playing like actual football and certain real concepts you need to know. Like one thing I've seen a lot of you complain about is the speed of wide receivers, but I think one of the things with wide receivers that you all are sort of getting with these speedy guys is that you have to know how to line up against speedy wide receivers, but also as an offensive player, when you see certain things, you're gonna want to react to that and just take advantage of it. Well, not take advantage, but know you're in an optimal position for some things. It's like hopefully I can put in this video because like the video I'm gonna have playing in the background is just gonna be something with the program I use to make my videos. I'm gonna let its AI try something for once, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna cut in a clip if hopefully if I can find one off the cuff through all the videos I have. I have a very long backlog. of stuff that I'm trying to get out. It's but one basic thing is like I do it in games. I've done it. I used to do it in NCAA games. Stop doing it in Madden because Madden doesn't offer realism. Like what would be known as a 50-50 ball doesn't truly exist in Madden because if you're throwing a go route and the cornerback's within any vicinity of the wide receiver, it's an automatic pick. That's not how this game plays. So if I'm lining up and one of my receivers is solo, let's say I have trips right and a solo wide receiver to the left. He's on an island. If the defense is showing me a single high safety look, which would say cover 1 or cover 3, or it's showing me 2 low safeties, which would say cover 0. In Madden, people still aren't really going to look to that lone wide receiver unless he's super fast. But in this game, if that lone wide receiver, if I'm seeing a cover 3, cover 1, or cover 0 look, that means he's alone on a go route. Or if it's not even a go route, I may audible him to a go route. And it's like, hey, if it's first or second down, I'm just going to throw it to him purely on the fact that I know, hey, that's a pure 50-50 chance. It's just those two. And my guy knows what he's doing, so hopefully he can get a step on him or just a half step and maybe make a chance at the catch. I've done it to the computer. The computer has definitely done it to me. Even because now you could have shell coverages to basically sort of fake what you're doing. Even when I fake it against the CPU, if I'm showing cover 0 and I'm really playing cover 2 or cover 4 over top of it, the CPU is still throwing that ball up to the receiver, almost like 3-step drop and just chucking it. And so that's one of the things where it's like there's real football concepts like just reading the defense and stuff like that you guys may not know. And it's not your fault because like certain people at certain levels of life, you're gonna be taught football in different ways. Because I was fortunate enough that in my life when I got to playing high school football, I was lucky enough that my coaching staff was very well experienced in football. So much so that my head coach actually played in the NFL and was also a 4-year starter at a major D1 program, now Power 4 school. Back then Power 5 or whatever. Like he played at a major school. So much so that he played in literally a national championship game. So I have someone with that level of experience teaching football down to me at the high school level, which most people probably don't even make it to high school football, but still love football. So you have people who aren't getting taught by people like that, or even people with the rest of the coaching staff who went to college, who played at different levels from D1, D2, and D3. Some of you, if you only played like Pop Warner or youth football, sometimes your head coach is just some guys from the neighborhood who didn't even really start when they played high school football. So you can understand why like some people's levels of knowledge aren't there. And if your level of knowledge isn't there, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. It's cool. It's fine. Everyone's not going to be rocket scientists at playing football. Because trust me, if everybody who played this game understood football on a 100% complete level, which myself, I don't, we'd all be coaching in the NFL like Bill Belichick. But that's one thing I see is that the Madden style of football has leaned people to not be able to do things. Like even one thing, because I've played every Madden except for Madden 24 since the NCAA series stopped. So everything from Madden, the original Madden 25 through Madden 23, I played. So I'm also having experiences as well of like trying to adjust things. So like a big thing for me is knowing how to throw my wide receiver open. Instead of like in Madden having to wait till the wide receiver is actually open, then throwing it, it's throwing my wide receiver open. Because some things you do in this game that are more like real life that you can't do in Madden, such as a comeback route. Like a 15, 20-yard comeback route, that's what a wide receiver runs up, look like he's running the go route, then he comes back to the outside. In this game, you can throw that ball before he breaks on that route to come back to the outside. In Madden, you try to do that, he's throwing the ball upfield. It's just a lame duck. So you're adjusting to that. You're adjusting to having to know real football concepts and playing Madden. Because like even myself, I'm struggling on defense a little bit well, a fair amount, but also you guys got to realize you have to move on defense and change up things and such. Which, mentioning defense, I'm going to move on to my point three, which is point three, the biggest one, which I should probably put in the front of the video said first, like skip to here, is that the biggest reason you guys aren't doing well at the game is that the game hasn't taught you how to play the game. There's no tutorial, there's no real warm up. And I've seen it on social media, especially in the subreddit. One of the biggest things, especially because I know like a lot of you come back to these series after years because it was probably the thing you played in not Madden. There's a very big knowledge gap in how games are structured now versus how they were back then on the PS3. Like we're a whole 2 console generations removed. We're a whole decade removed from what you guys remember to what's existing now. If you played on PS3, if you played on PS2, hey, power to you for you able to get a win online. Because if you're able to have not played anything and pick this shit up now, hey, you're basically a 6th grader winning an Olympic medal. But yeah, there's like a knowledge gap. Because one of the big things I saw was like referring to on when people were playing defense and they control the defensive player, they were saying, wait, what are these dots on my defensive player? What are these bars under the offensive lineman? That's something that was brought into the game, I believe, in Madden 20 or yeah, Madden 20. That's when they first put abilities into the game. And so that's just showing like, hey, you guys are 5 years removed. Like you guys don't even have the last 5 years worth of gaming knowledge. And the game didn't do anything to try to catch you up to it. I would say one of the bigger things, which one, it's an improvement in the game, but two, they never explained it, which is my biggest point with number three, is the new blocking mechanics. The blocking mechanics are going back to similar to what they were in either 10 or 11, where they made a very big change in how blocking worked in the NCAA games to like actually show your blockers their assignments and how they're going to progress upfield. And now we got different ways to change your blocking assignments and pass blocking as well too. And it's a great addition. And I know a lot of people have gone and watched Britt Coleman's video about it to like get a better understanding and more depth. But it shouldn't take Britt Coleman, who's a guy who makes video content on YouTube about NFL football and breaking things down, players he likes, seeing certain concepts he likes, and explaining them and showing you how they work and stuff. It shouldn't take that guy having to explain to everyone here how the new blocking system works for sliding your blocking and setting it as empty, which is more so scat blocking versus normal versus max protection versus half slide left versus full slide left. It shouldn't take him explain that to us and let us know, hey, this is what's actually resetting things. Because I figured it out because I was like, oh, I see a guy is blitzing to my left. Then that's when I open up the pass slide screen, which I used in Madden's previously. And then I thought, oh, wait, there's a whole bunch of options here. What do we got here? And then that's when I started messing around with it. But there's like no tutorial or anything in the game that shows you like, hey, here's how you should actually slide your protection. Here's how you should set it up. And also because I'm a guy who uses Coach Cam pre-play every play. Like I was able to see and like look at my block and be like, hey, okay, I know these are the guys getting blocked on this play, and that's something you guys have to check as well too. But it's not your fault that you don't know how to do that. The game should have had a tutorial to explain to you how to do that. It should be like, hey, you guys have been away for a while. Here's a bunch of new shit if you haven't played since 2014 that you should probably know. We're going to help you with it just so you have the opportunity to play the best that you can. And that's the big thing is like there's a knowledge gap of just they're not telling people things that have come in the games recently that you guys should know. There's just things like if you played Madden, you just sort of know how to do, know how they work, know how it's going. Like something like the high pass modifier and stuff like that. It's stuff like that that the game should tell you, which is not telling you, which is not on you, the person playing the game, for you not being able to play the game and things not going well. That's on the developers for like just I guess it's to the point where it's like, oh, everybody who's buying this game has already played Madden. They played one of the recent Maddens, and they probably just love everything that we EA Sports puts out. And they should just know how to do this shit. No, the fuck they're not. Because it's like, yo, if I only played this game, which, hey, the data shows, yo, after the whole Call of Duty fiasco with the lawsuit, the PlayStation showed like basically 5% of the player base from PlayStation 4 through PlayStation 5, 70%, 5% of the player base spent 70% of their time only playing Call of Duty. And you could basically extrapolate that to a lot of other games, being like, hey, a good amount of the gaming player base, they're only going to play one game and they're not really playing anything else. And so you can extrapolate that like, hey, people who play NCAA, they're probably not playing Madden because a lot of us played the NCAA back in the day because Madden wasn't it. I mean, even now, it's not it. Hey, we've seen the campaigns for years, fix Madden franchise and all that other shit. But NCAA had a different feel to it. It was a smaller team, more tight knit, and they weren't under the fucking thumb of the big EA heads, and they did their own thing. And this is made by that same group who's under the thumb of the EA heads, which I'm not even getting to the shit I found out when I was looking through their financials to realize how big of a problem this shit's never really gonna go back. But hey, if you're not doing well at the game, it's not because you're bad. There's a big learning curve, which I will put that in here as well. Like, I'll show a screenshot from the Rex Dixon interview. Rex Dixon is a guy who was in charge of Tiburon, the Orlando studio for EA, who's making all the Madden, um, NFL Street, and NCAA games back in the day. Who I think he made everything from Madden 12 through 16, 17-ish. He was like the lead designer. Basically, he states that basically the heads at EA and EA Sports basically told him like, hey, remove the skill gap. Like, just completely take it out. Make it so a 35-year-old who knows, who's damn near a coach in NFL, playing against an 8-year-old who just is like, huh, I like Gronk, would have a very competitive game online because the skill gap got removed. Like, he literally states it verbatim. And I only said Gronk because that was the example that the EA head had used. It's like he saw his son just throwing 4 verts to Gronk a whole game and bringing it down. He's like, make the game more like that so that on the competitive side, there's really not much difference. Yeah, the skill gap was closed for a very long time and made smaller and smaller and smaller. And like, I can go through so many examples. Like, I guess the worst example of like how they made the game like not really based on true ability is the Joker incident. Anybody who's hearing this, who when I say the Joker incident with Madden and know exactly what I'm talking about, you know how bad that was. For those who don't know, a guy named Joker on the pro scene. This is in Madden Ultimate Team, which I have my own feelings about that, which I'm not going to go into the diatribe right now on that in this rant. But Ultimate Team has a mode called salary cap mode. You know, Ultimate Team is like, hey, build the best team possible, anything, everything. Well, they have a salary cap mode, which is like, you can't just use the best anything and everything players. A guy named Joker in that tournament figured out a way to basically build a team that was unstoppable against the run. Like, you couldn't stop his ability to run. And he made it with a lot of weaker players on offense to make it so he had a dominant defense. But he only threw the ball over the course of the whole tournament, which I think is like he had to play 10 games. He only dropped back to pass 6 times. And yeah, he had an offense where literally all of his tight ends were offensive linemen and all his wide receivers were tight ends that were blocking. And even his fullback was a lineman. And then yeah, everybody's just blocking. So yeah, the game was made in a way where everything's just so squished together that really the way you beat the game, especially if you go online and see money plays and stuff, the way you win at the game of Madden is literally breaking the intelligence of the AI in the game. You're intentionally trying to do things that really don't exist in football to break the intelligence of the game, basically exploiting the game. In some ways, some people would call it cheating, but you're exploiting the game. You're figuring out ways to break the game. But in college football, it's like, hey, you're really just actually trying to play football. And I think a lot of you guys haven't had to do that in a very long time. And then also the skill gap got greatly widened again. And unfortunately, some of the people are finding out, hey, I'm not as good at football or knowledgeable football as I thought. And that's okay. Don't don't let this like hurt your ego or anything. Like just know like from this game you're gonna grow and learn things. And like you can get a good understanding of football. You can go watch some videos on football and learn things and like learn how actual route combinations, how the plays are designed and how they're actually supposed to work. Instead of always trying to just hot route everything and mess up everything, which also another thing, with the game actually trying to instruct you and help you with things, the reason a hot route is called a hot route is because when they're blitzing, a guy's called hot because that's the guy who you're going to throw it to once the blitz comes from where you think it is. Which also in this game, if you go to Coach Cam, you'll see two fire icons over top the defenders to let you know those are the hot guys. Which is also another fucking thing the game should tell you, but it fucking doesn't, right? Like the developers could have put out the easiest, most simplest of tutorial shit to be like, hey, this is how you play the game. This is all the shit we were giving you. Give you all the information, but they didn't. And I think that's also contributing to the skill gap. It's like they're relying on like people like me and other YouTube and content creators to like explain how the game works when it's like that's not their fucking job on the internet to do. It's your job. You made the fucking game. Tell people how to actually play your fucking game. So shit like this, and your whole community is like, hey, I don't know how to play this. This shit sucks. It's like, no. The game, well, there are flaws in the game that make the shit suck. But for the most part, the reason people are having a bad experience and not being able to win like they've been used to is because you didn't give them all the information to explain to them how to use all the tools to win. And you know, with some people where it's an extreme knowledge gap because they haven't played Madden for a very long time because you put out a poor product, so there was no reason to do it. Because let's be honest, when you play Madden in franchise mode, every team feels the same, don't it? I mean, even though in college football 25 and old NCAA games, most teams were just assigned one of 10 defensive playbooks. And so the defense may have felt the same, but certain great players stood out. But at least in college football, every team's offense feels different. I'm not just talking about, teams like Air Force who are running the flex bone, wishbone type stuff. It's like, no, you can see like, oh, this team is running a certain concept and doing certain things in their offense versus another team you're playing against. And it all feels different, right? But hey, this is a rant. This is off the cuff. I'm not writing down any notes. Well, I didn't write down any notes. I'll probably write down notes when I actually make the video and turn it into things and have the examples up here for you guys. But hey, man, yes, you are bad at the game. But no, it's not your fault, man. That's the big conclusion. There were so many things working against you that you didn't even know were working against you, that you walk into an experience expecting an easy time like you had in the past, and it's just not that. And don't be upset about that. Like, you're going to have to take some jumps to learn things in the game, to get better at the game, and you're like, oh, this works. Oh, I understand some things. Like, oh, I understand some things about football. And like, I'm learning some football. Like, legit, you can literally learn some real football from this game versus what Madden has. Because here's one thing: if you're a very old college football fan, you know the name Mike Leach. Mike Leach invented the air raid offense, basically. He innovated it, was a partner in crime with another coach, but the air raid offense is damn near his baby. He's one of the fathers of it. And every air raid concept play in this game is named the way he would name it in his playbooks. So that's like one of the things is like, there's real football in this game versus what Madden has. Like, the most realistic play name they got is that goddamn John Gruden X2 Spider Y Banana. I think that was the name of the play. Which, if you don't know what that play is it's play action fullback flat. That's all it is. Like that, the play action play where the fullback goes into the flats. You're out of the I formation. Your tight end runs a corner route, and then the wide receiver outside of that tight end runs a post route. That's all that play is. So, but this game, be patient with it, and be patient with yourself, and you will see yourself make strides in this game. I mean, there's problems in Dynasty mode, Road to Glory, and such things, Super Sim, and some of the animations for a few small things are off, which let's pray they fix. But knowing how EA is and their fiduciary responsibilities, might not happen. But there are ways, there's resources out there to help you get better at the game. I would definitely suggest Brett Coleman's video of how to set your blocking, because you sort of need to do it on every pass and play just to make sure you're good. I mean, those dominant defensive guys are just going to bust through your line like a wet paper bag. It sucks, especially if you're with a one-star program. But hey, that's what you signed up for, deciding to coach that one-star program. But OG Smurf, A26 signing off. You suck at the game. So do I. But hey, we can learn a little bit more and let's have fun, baby.